On Thursday, March 26th, Governor Phil Scott ordered school districts and buildings to remain closed for the rest of the school year for in person instruction. Education will continue as best as possible via remote online channels, in addition to other materials teachers will be attempting to send to their students. The unprecedented situation created from the spread and concerns about the COVID-19 virus has educators scrambling to develop ways of continuing learning through the remainder of the school year on the fly. We talked with Jacqueline Wilson, the superintendent of the Bennington-Rutland Supervisory Union, about how that effort is going and what are some of the issues involved through a remote Zoom meeting.
There's all the issues. There's labor issues. We have a lot of folks that have put in for exemptions, not a lot, but they're all legit, and so we'll work through that as we have some folks that are really working on the front lines every single day, and I don't know how we would do it without them. And the folks that are making our meals for kids, delivering our meals for kids, that are putting learning packets together. So those are things that we're just really aware of and paying attention to keep them safe, and to really thank them for all the work that they are doing and putting themselves out there for us. The big one right now will be for us, we'll start to move into this phase. The Secretary of Ed put out new guidance on the continuity of education planning template, which went out on Saturday. And I will say, I think some of that plan was pretty unrealistic. It looks like the ideal plan, if you had 2 years to implement distance learning, and that was going to be your major platform, but we're in an emergency situation. So we're going to need to work through that and see what is reasonable and what is not. So that right now is our most challenging issue on the table for us, is how do we get everybody how do we get everybody mobilized so that we want to reach all of our kids, but how do we make that equitable? How do we give them the access that they all need? Kids that don't have reliable access to internet. So that's huge. On Wednesday, I am meeting with all of my principals. That was their drop dead date. We've done a survey with parents to try to figure out internet status, but now we're doing follow-up phone calls, and I need a solid list by Wednesday so we can really start to plan how we're going to support those kiddos that will not have access to internet, and what will that look like. So that's our big one right now. And teachers this week are meeting with I call horizontal teams. They're meeting by grade level across the whole supervisory union to do some planning together, because we have to be prepared for being able to provide education when people get sick. I mean, we're going to have teachers get sick, and we can't call in a sub. So how do we make sure we can still continue to support kids in that eventuality?
Would the remote learning be completely like online, or do you anticipate it being supplemented by, let's say, deliveries from the school, like lesson plans from the school itself that would be distributed to the students, you know, on the school bus or something? Is that
Yeah, it will
possible?
be it will be a mix. So we don't want kids having too much screen time. So, we'll have some, and our goal is, maybe 2 times a week, teachers are maybe holding some online experiences for kids, but it may not be, and it may not be interactive. It may be that they've done a screencast of a lesson and they've put that out, and then they follow up with kids in small groups, or they give a phone call, or they check in on their learning. But there will absolutely be a component that we're delivering every single week. That's more of the hard copy. Keep a journal. Make sure you're keeping up with your reading. Is there a project that will get you outdoors, and with a science angle to that. So we'll be putting those types of work together in our packets, and that's where we think the power will come from our teachers working across the whole supervisory union to plan. so that they can share that and that they can together come up with those ideas things that will work for kids that will not require them to be looking at a screen. Because I will tell you, I mean, my work has totally transitioned to the last couple of weeks is I am only on a screen. So I've had days where I'm, 12 hours and I'm just in front of a screen, and it makes you crazy. It's exhausting. Good way to operate. And I do not want to do that to kids.
School districts will have to come up with their plans for remote learning by April 13th. The state will also be tackling the question of what to do for graduation exercises and end-of-year ceremonies by the 8th of May. For the GNAT TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.